Quaid Azam, Part 33. Well, poetry, painting, the cultivation of senses, that urbane nostalgia of gentlemen, whether Muslim or Hindu, for better days, all collapsed when confronted by the harsh exigencies of religious rectitude, just as they had to surrender to the demanding and humiliating realities of the straitened economic circumstances of 1856. The flashes of time gave birth to the renewed religious fervor as a kind of repentance, atonement, and of the reformed and ardent faithfulness. Experience of the adversity does this always to all faith, not just to Islam alone. At the leading edge of this Islamic reform was Deoband, founded in 1867 by ulama imbued with the tradition of Shah Waliullah. They believed that the education should no longer be for the purpose of training Muslims for surviving the empire. Instead, it ought to train them in the art of survival in a world where Muslims have power. And as the world has happened, Ashraf even early 20th century to draw on the of Islam for secular civilization tenets, reasoning that as the era come to India to power wielding was in their it was their birth, and it is that remains as their and in it was but a time for to return to them. So at least they reasoned among themselves. This attitude lay, perhaps still does, at the heart of most Muslim politics. Certainly in the first half of the 20th century, also in today's Pakistan, it is currently in a diluted form in India too. This thought both infused and inspired the writings of Aligarh movement, as demonstrated by the persistence with which All India Muslim League continued to assert the critical importance of the Muslims. Also in the power worship that infused so much of Iqbal's poetry and led not just to the development of a demand for Pakistan, it continues still to confuse so much of the current political thought in India. While not at all devaluing the importance of many other factors that contributed to the birth of Pakistan. This was perhaps also that last striking expression of the Perso-Islamic values in India, which had been revealed to be, like other values of the early 20th century, imbued with complex contradictions, several paradoxes, and a self-defeating inwardness. Deoband, this great Islamic seminary some distance out of Delhi, and now renowned internationally as one of the great centers of Islamic learning, was in the early years of its founding supported entirely by voluntary contributions. The students were drawn solely from Muslim society, though not just for North India or Uttar Pradesh, but also from Punjab, Bengal, and even from Afghanistan. Some came from Iran too. The course of study was strictly traditional. No English was taught there, and of course no sciences as well. Cut off from government employment and by tradition from the small crafts except printing and book binding. Deoband graduates flocked to the madrasas of Muslim India, maintaining the system of first educating and then dividing these educated Muslims from the rest. Deoband's leading lights were mostly former students of Delhi Madrasa, started by Shah Waliullah. They were the former students of Delhi Madrasa, started by Shah Waliullah, and destroyed by the British in 1857. And there were at least some of them survivors of the battlefields of that uprising.